We're back. Gina, do we have fun?
Oh my gosh. We had fun. Most importantly for me, we had clean air. But yes, Julie and I took a little girls' trip last week.
We did. And I ate my weight in oysters.
You did.
And drank my weight in martinis.
A little champagne.
Yeah, a little champagne. Yeah, it was nice though. You're right, the clean air was nice, but I think it was also nice. It's the end of summer, and I feel like in Michigan, I've never appreciated summer as much as I do since I've lived here.
Yeah.
It really is a very special time. So it was nice to get out.
Well, you're used to just beautiful sunny weather all year round, but here in Michigan, we have to really embrace June, July, and August.
The 100 days of summer.
That's right. It truly is. For me, with my asthma and stuff, the week before we left, it was literally like we were having some of the worst air quality in the entire world. So we left, we got some clean air, and I felt like I could breathe again. I wasn't getting headaches all the time. Funny, I was listening to NPR this morning on my drive in, and they were talking about this. This is just going to be a thing from now on. We're just going to have smoke season in perpetuity now. And I know it's something we've really only struggled with the last few years, but we had dozens of poor air quality alerts this summer, and now we're just kind of learning that this is just the new normal.
So now we're going to have the Midwest, Michigan. We're going to have winter, construction, and smoke seasons.
Yes.
They're the three seasons.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Planning vacations accordingly.
Yeah, exactly. So, Norris, aren't you so glad we're back?
I'm incredibly happy you guys are back. I'm back as well. I spent my weekend at a festival in Detroit, and it was also a lot of smoke, fire smoke and other smoke, and pyrotechnic smoke, and it was great. I had a great time. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, but it took 4 days to recover, to be honest with you.
How were the ribs?
You know what? I didn't even eat ribs. It was a African diaspora festival.
Oh.
So eating ribs just felt like it would have been not.
I got
peak.
confused. I thought there
was a rib festival.
Yeah, okay.
But I didn't go to that one.
Okay.
I ate a lot of jerk chicken and jollof rice and Ethiopian food, and it was great. All of it was good, and my legs hurt. This is the first time I've gone to a festival and felt my age.
What, 25?
Right.
You flatter me. No.
That's how old Pat thinks you are. But anyway, I did live vicariously through you. I did see your social media about the festival. It looked like fun.
It was big fun, yeah. And also, let's say hello to your mom. Hi, Pat. And yeah, it was great. But I got carded at the bar, which is always flattering to me. But I got carded at the bar, and I'm getting the reaction of ooh.
You're that old?
Yeah, he's like, ooh. Okay, no wonder you're in VIP. I'm not sure if you should be in Gin Pop over there with everybody else. You need to sit down from time to time.
Welcome to our reality.
Yeah, I feel it. Thank
Partying
you.
finished a long time ago. You can enjoy.
Yeah,
You've got the
good and
future.
grown. I'm in a good and grown section.
We are missing Adrienne. I think she was a bit jelly of our girls' trip and decided that she was going to take this week off. But I think she's having some fun with her kids. So
yeah,
big shout out to Adrienne.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the show. And don't forget to follow us on all of our social medias at Point of Disorder, at Distill Social, at the Guerrilla Politic, all of the socials, and give us a like, hello, and a review, and tell other people about us. I'm Julie.
I'm Gina.
And I'm Norris. I'm back. I haven't been here in a while, but here we are.
That's right. I'm so glad you could join us today. Adrienne is out enjoying a last week of summer with her kids.
That's right.
So, funny thing happened over the weekend that I actually tweeted about, and so many people wrote in. I think it's so funny when you tweet about something and then people take the time to comment and say, we don't care about this. you didn't have to comment that if you really didn't care. So this is what happened. Last huge wedding. Okay, I don't know if people in Michigan know about this, but Congresswoman Debbie Dingell's chief of staff married Tim Walberg's chief of staff. They had a beautiful wedding in Michigan. And Debbie posted some photos. The bride's gorgeous. Congratulations. But how do we feel about, like, one of the most progressive Congress people, you know, Debbie Dingell, who is, you know, for universal health care, and she's very progressive, marrying Tim Walberg's chief of staff. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Congressman Walberg has said such fun things like we should nuke Gaza, and he wanted to help Uganda kill all their gay people. So I'm just seeing a huge, like, the Grand Canyon of chasms in between. Like, can you imagine their pillow talk?
You know, I have some very strict rules on, like, who I can date politically.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't understand, like, how a dinner conversation goes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But I mean, I think what we have to do is we have to just sit back for a minute and think about the world we live in right now and the America we live in, which is so fucking divided. And I think it would be, personally, I couldn't do it. But these are staff that work for these people. They're not these people. So there is
This is true. It's possible
Yeah.
that they don't share all of the ideologies. I mean, for me, I couldn't marry somebody who didn't think I deserved human
vote.
rights.
rights, yeah.
Yeah, like any kind of rights,
Yeah.
reproductive rights, voting rights, just basic human rights.
But that's, you know, young people now, you've got to think about the fact that a lot of things have changed. Well, since I was out there dating, and I think you too, Gina, and I know you're still out there dating.
I'm out here, unfortunately.
So you can probably tell us a bit more. But it feels like for young people specifically that how else do you meet people? Like, it's at work, right? Like, even when I was
Work or
young,
like the dating apps.
yeah.
And the
It's-
apps are terrible. I'm telling you that right now.
yeah, so it's like you're at work. So they work together, obviously in some some way, shape, or form. They're in DC. I'm presuming they're based in DC, and so therefore it's a pretty small pool that you're sort of swimming in. It's not like, you know, back in when your days when you were working on Wall Street, you know, in New York, Gina, when there's, you know, literally hundreds of thousands of people.
It was a big dating pool.
Correct. Yeah, much smaller.
I mean,
I'd
but
imagine.
also to me, at the same time, like, it's a small dating pool, but there's still a lot of people in DC, in the greater DC area, that I'm sure you could find somebody that aligns more along with your political ideology. But listen, the heart wants what it wants, and I hope they are happy together and all that wonderful stuff. But for me, I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't. I mean, as what I believe in and who I am, like, I couldn't date somebody that was like, yeah, man, that 14th Amendment, I'm not sure if I like it. Like, and I would be like, bro, no, sis, we cannot date. You know, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, you know, there's some sort of connection there, and maybe who knows? I can't call it.
Just let's go back to a minute, though, to I'm sure there was a time, like maybe 20 years ago, I don't know, where it wouldn't have mattered which side of the aisle you worked on. People were kind of similar. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was far more in common. Probably Debbie Dingell and maybe not Tim Walberg, but the opposition would have had more in common than what they
These
do
are
today.
not like John McCain Republicans.
Correct.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the part that seems
Yeah.
really difficult to
that's
compute.
the part for me, is that, like, just everybody has moved further into their own camps, and to the point where, like, maybe 20 years ago, I could think of somebody's like, you know, I just actually don't want as much government in my life. Like, all right, cool. Fundamentally, I get how you get there. But now it's just like, nah, man, the Epstein files aren't that bad. And I'm like, no. What are we talking?
Pedophilia is in.
Yeah, like, what are we talking? You know, so I you know, people got much harder lines in the sand, I think, now. But I guess this is supposed to give us hope.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, maybe this, we supposed to be more hopeful about this and less cynical.
And let's remember they're in DC, so they can't even go out anymore because they're under the National Guard.
Oh, that's right.
So these poor pricks, they're just
That's
like,
right.
you know, at work, and that's it. No
Just
more
wanna
bars,
use-
no more restaurants, no more going out in the street.
Yeah.
It's just like this must be what like 1938 Paris felt like.
Right?
Like, you know, like you just sitting at a cafe, you trying to go on a nice date, and it's just like, cool, here's a Bradley fighting vehicle just going down U Street.
It's insane. I'm watching videos online and like a lot of like TikTok lives and stuff, and you know, it's just like the armored vehicles driving around the National Mall. Like we've all been to DC. You can walk around the National Mall at nighttime. There is no crime. I mean, like maybe petty theft. Like
There's barely any people.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you're not, you know. Oh, and who was it that said it was like Baghdad?
Oh, I don't know. They're all just, honestly, they're making up shit.
Yeah, I believe it was like Stephen Miller who
probably.
on air was telling reporters like it's like as bad as Baghdad and
Says
Somalia.
the guy who's never been to an active war zone.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's just shut the fuck up. Like, anyway, but like to me now, I'm starting to feel like was the big balls thing a false flag? Like now it's like now I got to get my conspiracy hat on.
No,
Oh,
it absolutely
it's been
was.
on
Yeah.
for me.
We said that 2 weeks ago. I said to Gina she was wearing a tin hat, I think, that day when we
Yep.
spoke about this the last podcast.
Yeah.
The next morning, I got on a flight and I was messaging these guys and because literally the person in front of me, I could see they were watching Fox News and it was coming up constantly about, you know, crime in DC. It's out of control. You know, big balls. They didn't call him that, but it was like,
Yeah.
you know, showing photos of him all over the screen. That's all they had on Fox News the next morning. And so, Gina, I'm fully, in the last 2 weeks, it's not just that we spent a lot of time together at the girls' trip. I'm totally in your camp. I think that was a fucking...
Yeah, they sacrificed
Definitely.
him. They said, listen, man, you're going to have to get your ass whooped for this.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm down for the cause, brother.
So, I'm
they,
gonna
they
say-
will find one of us in the wreckage, brother.
I'm gonna say it wasn't that planned out. What I think happened is I think big balls because I do believe most of them do drugs in the Trump administration.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I'm thinking dude was out trying to buy some drugs, got jacked, and got beat up.
And now they were like, we could do something with this.
Exactly.
But on Fox News, they were saying, so once again, on the aeroplane, they were saying that he was actually, he interrupted...
He tried to stop a carjacking.
carjacking, yeah,
And then got
yeah.
beat up by girls. Did you see that part?
He did
They
get
did-
beat up by girls.
They
Yeah.
didn't mention it was girls.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, that doesn't make any sense because... If you know how a carjacking actually happens, it's a very quick crime.
Yeah.
And so what time would you have? Because by the time somebody points the gun, get out of the car, that's like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So you're telling me he's Jason Bourne, basically.
I've actually witnessed and been a victim of auto theft and carjacking back east, and I can concur with you that it's so fucking fast. And these people, they don't jump out of the car and like pummel somebody and then drive. No, it's like boom. Like, pull out the gun, grab your car, and go. Like,
Yeah.
just like Nora said.
Yeah,
Like,
because the quicker that's over, the easier it is for us to get away. So
And-
to me, that never made sense.
and I just want to point out, like, largely it's not teenage girls doing it.
Largely, that is correct. That is correct. But I think the funniest thing, and I try to find the silver lining, the funny part around all this, is that you're still seeing videos, obviously, of National Guard and ICE and everybody walking around intimidating folks, but you're also seeing videos of like regular cops who are just like, bruh, we don't know what the hell to do.
I know.
Nobody's telling us anything. This is dumb. That's not my job. As a matter of fact, there was a quote, I believe it was in, I forgot where I read it. It might have been just social media, but somebody was like, yeah, I was walking through the National Mall and I heard a DC cop basically, like Capitol Police basically say, I'm not checking people's citizenship. That's not my job. Because there was a directive that DC police should start checking
mean,
people's citizenship.
It's just insane. They've got, I mean, I've heard about the fact that, you know, the FBI are now basically solely focusing all of this shit, you know, obviously around immigration and DC, and they're not doing their real fucking job. So
Yeah.
we're probably, we're probably 1 week away from another terrorist attack in some way, shape or form because the actual the entities that are supposed to be protecting us are all now focusing on, getting rid of Trump's name out of
Yeah.
the fucking Epstein files and running around DC.
I do want to point out that the big, beautiful murder bill really defunded local police.
Absolutely.
So that whole misnomer that it's the left that doesn't want to fund police. Actually, here in Michigan, Governor Whitmer funded police far more than any of her Republican predecessors. And we still have this misnomer going on. And it just happened in the federal government where Donald Trump literally defunded local community police forces to give all of that money to ICE.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then I would say the part that got spooky to me, the moment where it was like this went from ineffectual Trump administration to no, actually, y'all, this is a super huge problem, way worse than we thought, is that the night or the morning after the National Guard got to DC, they literally take photos of like 20 some odd black men that they had arrested, and the White House, the official White House Twitter account, posts pictures of like, look at all the people we arrested.
You sent that to me, and I'm like, these people all have one thing in
They
common.
have one thing in common. Like, they threw one white dude in there, just for a little bit of flavor.
Token.
Yeah, a little token. But it was like all black men, and it just, not just obviously my personal connection to it, but it just made me go, cool. This is the bat signal for all the rest of the other crazies across the country to start popping off. And, DC, I just want all of y'all, if you listening, stay safe. And, keep a Subway sandwich on you. Stay strapped with a Subway sandwich is what I would say.
Like, let's talk about that, because to me, that was like the next, like, folding, that replaced the folding chair from the Alabama River
It was
Boat
almost
Brawl.
the 2-year anniversary of the folding chair.
Tell us about it, Gina. What was the Subway sandwich?
Assault with a deadly weapon, Julie.
Oh, my God.
I've been holding on to that one. So it was actually a prosecutor. So the man that hurled the Subway footlong at the...
I'm glad it was not a 6-inch. It was a foot long.
It was
okay.
a foot long.
$5 foot long.
The guy who hurled it was actually like an attorney. So he knew exactly what he was, in for when he threw that sandwich. And I also want to point out, he was only like a few feet away from the cop he hurled it at. So, man, he should have stood back and given himself a little more runway there to get the fuck out of there. But, props to him. Like, it's great to see DC, like the actual inhabitants of DC really fighting back. So like this like Subway sandwich guy, he's kind of like become an early symbol of like the crime emergency in DC. Like we have so many local activists standing up now, and like this Subway slinger,
They've did like parody Banksy graffiti bombs of him, like, because there's the Banksy of the guy throwing the Molotov, and they just replaced it with a Subway sandwich. Yeah. It's just fantastic. And to your point, Gina, I love seeing the fact that the residents of DC are coming together and they're like warning people. They're saying, hey, there's a checkpoint down there. Don't go that way. Or, creating pathways so people can get to like where they live. Yeah. It sucks that people have to do this.
They're also like driving the law enforcement and like National Guard troops out of their neighborhoods. Yeah. So you could go online and see videos of, the Humvees coming in and just people coming out of their homes and gathering on the streets and yelling at them and walking and pushing them back and back until they vacate the neighborhood. So, I feel like at this point in time, we need more of that. We need more just your everyday people saying, not in my fucking neighborhood.
And I think what we need to do, I think we need to take note of this. And I think I said this the other week when we were talking about big balls. We need to take note of what's going on. It's happened in LA, obviously. Now it's in DC. And I just want to remind everybody that this too will come likely to cities near us.
Absolutely.
Blue states, blue cities like Detroit, where we're sitting right now, I'm sure are on the fucking list all for this whole, and I think it ties into our next conversation about Trump wants to kill mail-in ballots. This is just another way that is preparing us in readiness for no fucking elections in the future.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
You know, he was just chatting with Zelensky in the Oval Office, and he was like, "Oh, so you have a war, and then you don't have elections."
Exactly.
And he was like you could see the light bulb go off in his head.
He's going tick, tick,
Yep.
tick.
Yeah.
And he got the fucking idea of no mail-in ballots from Putin in his meeting last Friday. And if we can talk about this for a minute, because the part that blows my mind is we all know that mail-in ballots are actually how they vote in Russia,
Yeah.
as well as they have online voting as well, like that, all that first world
Listen,
shit.
the civilized world, this ship has sailed on this. Like, everybody votes by mail or
Including Trump himself.
That's what I'm
Correct.
saying. Like, this is such a non-starter and a non-issue. But he put out this statement earlier this week, which also, like you said, came in lieu of him talking to Putin about how he wants to eliminate mail-in voting because there's no way, quote unquote, there's no way for you to have a free, fair, unrigged election if you have mail-in ballots, which is dumb and we all know is a lie. But it is that dog whistle for his followers to go out and continue this ridiculous fight against people's voting rights, which, by the way, also came in the same day that Newsmax, the verdict came in that Newsmax was going to have to pay $67 million in a defamation lawsuit for saying that the voting was rigged. So, like, we're really going to keep on this same route that we have litigated over and over again over the past 4 years.
But this is the only way he wins. We've got to remember that. I'm having a bit of cognitive dissonance with it because at the same time, we remember that he decided in 2024 he wanted everyone, all of his people, to vote by mail because he fucking
That's
worked
right.
out that all of his people are old and that's how they
If
vote.
you
That's how
went
they
to a
vote.
Trump rally, which we
Yeah.
unfortunately went to many of, massive signage all over. Don't forget to vote by mail.
Yep. But I'm a little bit scared because I found out just recently, I honestly, in my mind, I just always thought that it was based state by state as to how voting, the voting laws, right? And, you know, once again, a newbie to all of this shit. But I just found out that he can't just write an executive order to get rid of mail-in ballots. But what he can do is what Congress basically holds at. So Congress can write a law which basically overrides everything at a state level and means that there will be potentially no more mail-in ballots. So I did hear that. So that's fucking scary to me because we all know Congress is full of sycophants.
Listen, and we're going to get deep into the battle for Congress right now because that's getting crazy as well. But you brought up the Putin meeting, and I definitely want us to talk about that because for me, as somebody who follows politics pretty closely, it's very rare to see a sitting president get so politically outmaneuvered and made to look stupid in a matter of like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Than what happened last week at that meeting.
Trump got rolled so hard.
It was bad, man. Like, you know, here's the thing for me. Like, we all know Putin is a jerk and a war criminal and all the things, right? Ukraine is in turmoil, all that stuff, right? But you bend over backwards, you literally roll out a red carpet for a war criminal and then sit in the car and basically let him bend you over a barrel and walk out 4 hours later and basically say, yeah, man, we don't have a deal, bro. I don't know.
So let's start with the fact that, number one, we literally rolled out the red carpet for Putin.
Yeah.
He got a hero's welcome. Nobody remembered that he's actually an indicted war criminal coming.
He can't go to Europe.
Right.
He can't go fucking anywhere.
He
What are you
literally,
doing?
like, Alaska's the only place he can go.
So, you know, as press photos were coming out of that meeting, we were watching like Marines like literally rolling out the red carpet. And then he scrambled like some of like the fancy jets and stuff from the East Coast, okay? And flew them out. I mean, we're like millions upon millions upon millions of dollars were spent welcoming war criminal Putin to Alaska, which at one point Trump forgot was even part of the United States, and said something like, "Oh, well, when I go back to the United States, bro, you fucking in me. Like, do you not understand Anchorage, Alaska is part of the United States? Or have you totally bought into the Russian propaganda that they own it?"
Yeah.
Ridiculous. The whole thing was insane. The number one thing Zelensky wanted was, while we are attempting to have these peace talks, can we at least have a ceasefire?
Right.
No, off the table entirely for Putin. And Trump just said, okay. And then Monday night, we saw some of the worst shelling and bombing in Ukraine since the war started. So you're pretending to want to have peace deals, but you're still dropping bombs.
Look, I think we all need to have a moment of honesty and clarity here. First of all, I think Trump literally has obviously, Putin has got Trump over a barrel in some way, shape, or form, for whatever reason.
Could it be the P tapes? I don't know.
I don't know. People are saying.
He's got shit on Trump.
He's got something.
Yeah.
People are saying. So I think the bottom line is I feel like he's a bit torn right now. He's torn between, he's my daddy, Putin. I'm basically a Putin puppet, and all he wants is to have this war fucking over and done with, right? So he can get his fucking Nobel Peace Prize, and whatever it takes to get him there. I thought was really interesting is the way that all of the European leaders, so that happened on Friday, Zelensky was coming here on Monday, all of the European leaders, they did not plan to come on Monday. They saw what happened, and they're like, they moved mountains to get here to basically huddle around Zelensky and make sure he wasn't fucked over again. My favourite part of that viewing, though, was watching J.D. Vance in the corner, like at the little kids' table. You know how did you see that?
Him and little Marco.
Him and little Marco. I was like, oh, I'm so gold.
You know what?
Gold.
And it was one of those meetings where I think, to your point, I don't think the average American understands the significance of what those EU leaders did and how quickly they were able to get here and mobilize around Zelensky, because we all know what happened to Zelensky when he was here last time, and it basically yelled at him like a petulant child. And for me, seeing those leaders kind of come in and go, listen, this is our guy and you ain't gonna do that to him again. And especially somebody like Emmanuel Macron, who was forced to sit next to Trump for most of the day, and to hear him speak, and for Trump to just jealously look at what an actual intelligent human being looks and sounds like,
good-looking,
right? And a handsome guy looks like, and for him to just shrink and sit there and seethe all day as vastly more intelligent people talked around him about this issue.
But I thought what was beautiful about that, I feel like if we go back to his first term, to Trump's first term, the way all of those leaders, most of them were still in it back in those days. And they, at that time, I don't think they took him seriously. I think it was like, oh, this guy ain't serious. We're just here, whatever. He's here. Like, he left all of the meetings earlier.
Yeah.
Then the second time around, they're kind of like, okay, now they've worked out exactly what they need to do. They just, oh, you look great. Don't you look great, Donald? Those pants, that tie's fabulous.
They know he just folds
Just
to
stroke his ego.
Oh my God.
And then we get him down to the table and basically
It's so easy.
emasculate him.
So easy to play him.
It is easy, and it's ridiculous too. But I think, to your point, I think that first time he was more of a joke because there was no plan. He didn't have half a cabinet for most of his administration. But this time, with all the Project 2025 stuff, this administration is so much more efficient than the last one, and that's not saying a lot because this is still not efficient. But it's so much more efficient than the last time that they kind of see the threat of the people around him more than just him. So it was deep, but still no ceasefire in Ukraine. Still nothing doing when it comes to any idea of peace in that region. And it sucks because this has been going on for such a long time, and there's no end in sight, unfortunately.
Well, I think Vance said on the weekend that, basically we're not going to give you any more money, but we're happy to sell you weapons. So you can buy weapons from us, but we're not going to give you no more money. So basically that's where I think they're at. So
Can we just bring up the whole Melania thing?
Oh, please.
We absolutely should.
Because,
Oh my
I
gosh.
just want to point out that this is a woman who, during Trump's first term, wore a jacket that said, "I really don't care."
Do you?
Yeah. So, Trump presented Zelensky with a letter from Melania to the First Lady. And it basically, she was basically being like, well, so let me back it up. First, there was a letter to Putin that said, like, think of the children.
Yeah.
But it didn't, like, specifically.
It's time. It said, it started with, Gina, it's time to protect the children
Right.
and the future generations worldwide.
Right. So, I mean, but she didn't bring up the fact that, can you give back the roughly 20,000 Ukrainian children you've abducted since the war began? Like, none of that.
Can you stop torturing Ukrainian people that you
Right.
captured? Can you stop bombing hospitals? All that good stuff.
Right. I mean, none
Just
of
be
that.
best.
And
Be best. Just be best. That's what it should have said. It should have said, Vladimir, just be best.
This is a
We're
serious.
all former Soviets. We understand. Just be best.
This is a serious problem, though. I mean, they've literally kidnapped 20,000 Ukrainian children. These parents clearly want their kids back. These kids are in Russia being
Indoctrinated.
and they're in these camps, literally being fed propaganda, turned into little Russian puppets. It's a terrible thing that's happening. Nobody fucking talked about it. Melania just glossed over all of that in her letter. It's clear she really doesn't care. And she's just trying to be part of her husband winning the Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, and then also, and I will put a big old fat allegedly around this, but, and this is also coming off the backs of, Hunter Biden basically saying, you used to hang out with Epstein. You knew him before your husband did. So we really talk about protecting the children?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the whole story is Epstein introduced Trump to Melania.
Yeah.
She was in his, I'll call it a flock.
His orbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, his orbit.
But can we also, to Melania, I'd like to say, so this is a quote from her letter.
Okay.
In today's world, some children are forced to carry a quiet laughter, untouched by the darkness around them, a silent defiance against the forces that can potentially claim their future. Well, Melania, how do you feel about taking away school lunches from children?
Yeah.
How do you feel about taking away medical visas from kids that have been decimated in Gaza? When the healthcare for those kids was going to be paid for by a non-profit, how do you feel about taking away healthcare from kids? So I just don't fucking understand it. How can you on one hand have this letter about look after the children, be best, and then your husband is literally leading an administration that's fucking over kids left, right, and centre here in the
Because
United
she
States.
didn't write that letter. Is she
Oh, was it written by?
No,
written?
she had a ghostwriter.
Oh, for sure.
She had a
staff-
ghostwriter.
No,
A staffer
it
wrote
was
that.
written by the former First Lady. We know that she's been taking Barack's Michelle Obama's.
She's been plagiarizing.
Plagiarizing.
Maybe,
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, enough of that.
I think we need to pivot to Michigan.
Yeah,
We're in Detroit. Let's talk about Detroit for a second.
Yeah.
Because Detroit's current mayor is having a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a moment, but he's being talked about in the news cycle right now.
He's throwing the gauntlet down. Let's put it that way. So as you know, Mike Duggan, the current mayor of Detroit, is running for the governor's office. And we kind of were wondering, who's going to come on and really support this guy? He's running as an independent. We know that Jocelyn Benson is looking like the nominee for the Democratic side. It's looking like John James will be the nominee on the Republican side, and he's kind of going to be in the middle. Well, this week he had a huge event with all of these movers and shakers in Metro Detroit of various backgrounds, and they basically all came out and supported him. They all said they were giving him money, and it was a pretty significant boost to his platform. A lot of them included well-known Democratic donors, board of regents members for the various universities, business leaders. It was very comprehensive in terms of the money people.
So let's have a little debate. Is he a true contender? Gina?
I want to say yes. He's doing very well fundraising. And he's filling a gap. I mean, I think the United States is at a breaking point where we're seeing kind of like the two-party system not really fulfilling the roles they once did. Like, we are have such an ideological spectrum right now that we clearly need more than two parties, right? Because the Republicans have gone so like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs that like your Reagan, John McCain, Mitt Romney Republicans no longer feel like they have a home there. It's just a little too batshit for them. And then you've got, you know, the Democratic Party, which is such a huge fucking massive tent. It would be 3 other parties in any other Western European country. So I do think there is a space for like an independent candidate right now. And like I said, he's doing really well fundraising. Obviously, he's getting the corporate money. He's been such a corporate Democrat and a corporate mayor. Like, if you want to come and have a business and build a building or do whatever, he's willing to give you hundreds of millions of dollars in tax incentives to come and you know, run your business from here.
And the reality is, you know, he has seen Detroit, which is it's a tough city. Like, it's not a city for the faint-hearted. And it's come through, obviously, bankruptcy, you know, the global financial crisis. It really has. He's done a good job on many metrics, not all of them, I want to say, not all of them, in terms of being able to, you know, to rebuild the city. Norris, you're a Detroiter. Like born and bred. Tell us where you sit on this.
I think in certain circles of the political conversation, I think he actually is still quite underestimated. I think until you know, this came out. I think previously, obviously, they knew he was going to be one of, if not the most well-funded candidate in the race. But I think a lot of pundits have kind of pushed away the fact that he's going to carry the city of Detroit. Detroit is probably going to vote for him and vote for him pretty handedly.
And now the question is how that sort of, what that looks like when we get outside of Detroit.
Yes, outstate is going to be where the battle is won, really, because, look, John James is not a good candidate for anything, right? Like, he's not a good politician. He's not a good candidate. I don't think nobody knows who he is on the west side of the state.
Yeah. Everyone knows he's a loser. That's
everyone knows like that he stands for nothing and he just looking for his next paycheck. Mm-hmm. And so I actually think if he is the nominee, that it becomes a race between Benson and Duggan, and Duggan's going to be the more palatable choice for most kind of those middle of the road Republicans, fiscal conservatives,
which are outstate, and also Oakland County. You know, like we're in the Tri-County area.
Yeah,
there's a lot of moderate. Remember that Oakland County used to be red. Like, it used to be a Republican. Yeah, a Republican. So there's a lot of, like, moderate Republicans out there.
Interesting how, like, Macomb used to be a blue stronghold.
I know.
But those were the Reagan Democrats.
Yeah.
Those were the union-strong Reagan Democrats. Yeah. And then the moment the culture war stuff came out, you saw that, the factory lines weren't as progressive as we thought they were.
Black people are taking your jobs and trans people are doing God knows what.
Exactly. So, you know, I think he's a contender. I think, you know, when we get into the general next year, or we get into kind of the nitty gritty of it next year, we'll begin to see like how he can perform on the debate stage, how we can, you know, stand up next to the other candidates. But I think it's going to be really hard for him to stand on. He's going to be able to stand on stage and say, look at Detroit before me and after me. And what can the rest of them say? Nothing.
Well, I think Jocelyn can talk about what she's done as a Secretary of State. That is a significant difference.
I mean, I think she could, but you know, you interface with your city every day. How often do you interface with Secretary of State? You know, I think
Every
that's
few
the
years when I have to do
yeah.
redo my
I think
license.
that's the problem that you know Jocelyn Benson's gonna have.
Yeah.
Do I think that she could still win the election? You know, and step out and do it? Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's gonna be more difficult than previously thought. But one thing I want to say is this: nobody is taking control of the social media narrative yet in this race.
It's true.
And speaking of social media, we gotta talk about your boy Gavin Newsom.
I was going to say.
We got to talk about your boy. I say your boy. I know everybody don't
We could
like
say
him.
your boy Gavin, but I do want to point out that the person behind his social media is a young woman.
Absolutely,
Of course it fucking is.
Absolutely.
Of course it is.
but it's fantastic.
And her fucking memes are killer.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
hat tip.
He has really made this incredible pivot, hasn't he? Like a few weeks, it seems like only weeks ago that we were all dissing him because of the whole, you know, Steve Bannon interviews, all that kind of stuff. And now there's like, he's just, he's done well.
I think we got to remember who he is and what his policies are before we happy clap too much about his memes. You know, dude's pretty milquetoast moderate on a lot of things, but fucking A+ for trolling. I mean, and what he's doing is he's kind of showing MAGA how fucking ridiculous they are. Putting out, I mean, and this is like Twitter accounts like the White House, Department of Defense. You're talking like all of our main government agencies have posted like AI generated Donald Trump with a ripped shirt and an eagle on his shoulder.
the Pope tweet.
Yeah. I mean,
So tell us what Gavin's team are doing for him right now, because I don't think not everyone will have seen them. Gina, give us an example of how, because he's trolling. They're trolling Trump, even his truth, whatever you call those things that he posts, his truth socials. Like they're even taking the piss out of those, aren't they?
Yeah. So, but one of the things that he's doing is he is emulating Trump's style. So
Right.
if anybody that's watched the news has seen what a Donald Trump tweet or truth post is like all caps, completely unhinged, you know, non sequitur, stream of consciousness, has no, you know, barely relates to anything.
Close your robe,
Yeah,
grandpa.
exactly. Yeah,
Stuff.
anything. So what Gavin Newsom's social media team has decided to do is basically do the same thing.
they're emulating it. They're just literally holding up a mirror.
Yeah. And what it's caused,
It's fucking fantastic.
and what it's caused, this has caused conservatives to literally lose their fucking minds. Like they are losing it. Fox News has had multiple segments about this, and they're like, this is stupid. This Gavin Newsom is unhinged. What's going on in California? This is the guy you guys chose to run your state. And any logical person can look at it and say, yeah, I know it's a parody. I know exactly what he's doing. And they just continue to make themselves
It's going right over their heads.
Yeah.
Nuance. It's
The
when
nuance
goes to
is lost.
die.
He's posting AI generated photos of like remember the Trump fleet of boats that was like in South Florida. So he posted one
Boat parade.
Yeah, the boat parade. He posted one that was like Newsom 2028, like
My favorite is one like emulating that infamous picture from when Trump was on stage and somebody allegedly tried to shoot him, where, you know, he's standing there surrounded by Secret Service and he's like doing the air fist pump, and like Newsom has totally parodied that. And one parody I saw, like he's holding a ketchup bottle in his hand, and they put the flag behind him, and the Secret Service are all huddled around him. I mean, it's marvelous. Unfortunately, it is lost on the people that it is aimed to make fun of.
But I think what it does for us, though, it's like we're in an attention economy.
Yeah.
And part of it is getting attention. And so for Gavin Newsom, obviously he's doing a bit of cleanup on aisle 5 because of all the Steve Bannon shit and all that sort of stuff. So he's basically, okay, if I can just take the piss out of Trump, that's going to win me back some brownie points. But what he's also doing, obviously, the gerrymandering. Let's talk about that for a minute. He's leaning quite heavily into making sure that we somehow get something back in readiness for 2026.
Yeah. So if you haven't been following the huge story coming out of the sort of national conversation is what's happening in Texas, and they're going to basically gerrymander Texas to make it even more difficult for Democrats to win any House seats, because I think safe money says in the midterms, conservatives countrywide are going to get clobbered, particularly in hotly contested seats.
If they don't cheat.
If they don't cheat, which is what they're about to do in Texas. Democrats statewide fled Texas for a number of days, have finally been brought back. That saga is ongoing. But what Gavin Newsom has decided to do in California is to do what he can to offset whatever seats that are gained in Texas by doing the same thing in California, which is, again, I think a thing that people are excited to see. Like, people are kind of over the whole they go low, we go high, Michelle Obama, like, take the moral high ground road with progressives and with Democrats. People are sick of that. They're like, no, if they're going to cheat back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a master class, but what I want to point out is that as of this recording, Texas Republicans have literally locked a black state rep. They have locked this black woman into the state house.
Yes.
They're basically jailing her. She has slept there overnight at this point.
Yeah, because she refused to take the security details. So
Right.
what Texas has done, and Governor Abbott has done down there, is basically said to all of the Democrats, you are going to have a mandatory security detail,
So you can't flee
leave
again.
the state.
Yeah. So she was
Freedom!
So exactly, all of these Democrats were basically to sign a form saying yes, the detail can follow us. She refused.
And so, as
they
recorded,
literally-
she's still there.
They literally locked her in. I know Kamala Harris called her last night to give her words of encouragement, but it's just been fucking insane. And I have to hand it to him. A lot of the, particularly women of color out there, have been organizing, and they're all in the rotunda outside, kind of just letting her, know, hey, we're here in solidarity. We're on
Hopefully
the
a
other
food
side of the
train
door.
or something like that.
Yeah, they're just there for emotional support.
Yeah.
Just being like, we're just on this other side of the door. We got you. You're not alone.
Oh, and I love it too, because if you saw the photo, she's literally there with her night mask and her bonnet on, and literally feet up with her slippers, and she's like, I'm here.
She
So
went prepared. Is
she
that what
came
you're saying?
prepared.
She's
She
like,
came
oh.
prepared.
It's like as unbothered as you could be
Yeah.
in that situation.
I love it.
This is so disturbing to me. I feel like we're at a new fucking level of craziness. When
The
we're fucking
Onion couldn't write this shit.
No,
No.
it could not. Fucking locking your
Yeah.
your legislators in the fucking house. That is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wanting
we've-
to have a detail so that people literally can't go.
Yeah.
And a reminder, we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, all of these people have to have jobs because they're only paid $600 a month as state legislators in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have other jobs. So that they have to take the detail to work with them? So you're
Yeah.
working at Starbucks and you got the fucking detail next to you? I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's very scary. We have to end with something a little more fun. And I think we've all worked out that I am a Netflix lover. I love
a
Netflix.
little
You
bit
are
of-
our resident Netflix correspondent.
I
Yes.
am, and I just want to point out one of my favorite shows that I've just finished
What'd you
watching.
watch this weekend?
I watched 2 shows. I watched Hunting Wives, which I love, love, love. Not for everybody, but I love it, okay? And there's this, we spoke about the other week about the poop cruise.
Yeah.
I'm really into these reality, looking back
The
at
documentaries.
docu stuff. There was one on The Biggest Loser. Now, it was a lot of it was lost on me because I never watched The Biggest Loser, and it
Yeah.
was based on the American version anyway. But it was pretty fucking scary.
Yeah. Okay. So as somebody who watched this when it originally came out, let me break it down. Because it's probably been about 20 years since it's been on the air. In the early 2000s, The Biggest Loser was a reality show based off of extreme weight loss. So you had, the first season of the show, the biggest people were maybe like 300 pounds or so.
Yeah.
And basically it took about 20 contestants and put them in an extreme weight loss regimen where these folks were working out like 6, 7, 8 hours a day, doing like CrossFit, like things like professional athletes would do. The trainers they got like this one guy, Bob and Jillian Michaels, they were training people, average Americans who were just kind of sitting at desk jobs, eating all day. They were training them as if they were professional athletes.
But
Yeah.
it was even the people that I saw on it were like more than just average. They were like morbidly obese.
Oh,
some of them.
as
like,
the
they
season
were like,
went
It got
on,
worse
Yeah.
as the
they had
season
to
Yeah.
up the
season
stakes.
got
So
on.
the
Yeah.
300-pound people were no longer big enough.
You can't go from like being 300 pounds
Yeah.
to like, pumping the pavement, and,
Right.
doing 100 sit-ups and running
So
around.
by like season like 3, 4, 5, you've got like men who are like 450 pounds. And not only that, then they're like doing challenges that really just make really just flat out make fun of obese people.
Yeah.
Like things
a lot
like
of shaming. It seemed like a lot of shaming.
That's
yeah.
right. Like think challenges with like food and stuff, and like just shoving food in people's faces while the trainers are berating them. It was a spectacle. We all tuned in. Looking back on it, it was like, wow, that was not okay.
It was
What
it was a
happened?
complete
Yeah.
relic of the 2000s.
Right.
you
Like
know?
what happened to these people is not okay. Most of them have gained the weight back. But like the trainers have lived on, and like Jillian Michaels became famous. Okay, now she was a known entity in the LA workout scene, but she became like a
guru, like a fitness
yeah,
guru.
like she was like somebody that just people have now heard her name. Like she had name recognition with the average American because of her role, literally screaming at fat people on TV. Terrible fucking human, all in all. And now, you know what we saw this week with Jillian Michaels?
She backed it up.
Oh my God. As this Netflix docuseries comes out and we're all reminded how fucking terrible she is, she's on like cable news talking about how slavery wasn't that bad because it wasn't that many white people that had slaves.
Yeah, so the thing is like there's this there's this conversation about the Smithsonian and all the museums in
Yeah.
DC like removing exhibits, particularly around slavery and people of color and their contributions to America, which there would not be in America if there was not slaves. So let's just get that out the way. But she basically says like, I don't think you can place imperialism and slavery at the feet of one race. There was slavery before America, which we know that, but there was a specific brand of slavery that was particularly heinous. Oh, and also, by the way, propped up the entire global economy.
Yeah.
I was going to say that there may only have been a small percentage of Americans, white Americans, that actually own slaves, but almost all white Americans have benefited
which,
from it.
by the way, the number one anchor on CNN, the channel she was on, is Anderson Cooper, who's a Vanderbilt, who got their money from slavery. So, like, what are we really talking about here, right? It's like you can't just talk about the people who own slaves. You got to talk about the people who sold slaves, who ran slave markets, who had slave newspaper advertisements. The people
fucking
who caught
railroads
slaves.
were built.
The railroads
were built
all
by
of it.
enslaved people. The fucking White House and U.S. Capitol building had enslaved people building.
It was
them.
built. That's why there's so many black people in DC because they built the White House. What are we talking about, ma'am? Like, listen. This is the kind of stuff.
I just want to say, fuck you, Jillian Michaels.
That's number one.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of stuff when we say taking away books is dangerous.
Yes.
Stopping children from learning is dangerous.
Yeah.
It's stuff like this. And I'll just leave it at the fact that this is not the end because they are also trying to replace regular PBS with PragerU and telling children that slavery was also not that bad.
And the
Fuck off.
slaves were fed and given a free
That's better
place
than
to
being.
live.
That's better than being dead. Nah, brother.
They
I
were
can tell
lucky
you if I can
because they
take
had
the
a free
choice.
place to live.
And
Are
that,
you
at least they
fucking
weren't
kidding
killed.
me?
Can I just say, let's finish off with saying slavery is bad, deleting and erasing history is bad, but on top of that, kids should understand that there are more than two options in life for people, one of them being slavery, one of them being killed. There should be more than those options in terms of us being able to live happy and fulfilling lives Thank you, Norris, for joining us.
Yes.
Gina, thank you for spending a week with me. And thank you. Everyone should be thanking us because of the fact we actually came back. We're here. And we will...
The air's a little better this week.
It is.
So.
It is. And we will see you all next week.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Point of Disorder. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who listened today. And if you like us, give us a like, a subscribe, or a review on any place you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. This is the Point of Disorder podcast, signing off. Stay sharp, stay progressive, and above all, stay tuned.